Charles Barter, it wasn't the best of comebacks for you yesterday morning.
No, indeed not. I haven't actually done a hill climb for about 21 years, and Rodney's been keeping on to me about driving his wonderful pill beam, and perhaps Wiscombe wasn't the venue to start, or the conditions, perhaps.
For sure, you were obviously trying reasonably hard up there. Was it just light up in third gear when you put the power in, or?
Yeah, I tried not to really try that hard because it's obviously somebody else's car. But on the other hand, one wants to really sort of give it a go if you possibly can. And I thought I was being reasonably cautious. And I think it's just got caught out on the slippery, mossy bit on that little lump up Castle Straight.
Right, for sure. I mean, how does the car compare to what you used to compete in? Because 20 odd years ago, you were winning Leaders' Championships and Midland Championships and things. What were you competing in those days?
Well, I started with imp derivatives and went through to Davrians and finished up with a Delta single-seater in the 1100 racing car class. But of course, they were all fairly low-powered cars, and you had to drive, dare I say it, the balls off the things. And this, of course, has a lot of power and a lot of torque, so it's a completely different car to drive.
Absolutely, loads of CC and loads of oomph behind it.
Exactly, yeah. So I knew that, and I'd had a little run in the car on Thursday night, so I knew what it was all about, but frankly I just got caught out.
Well, unfortunately these things do happen, don't they?
Yeah.
But I understand you're still heavily involved in motorsport, running on the circuits these days.
Yeah, when I gave up hill climbing, I started racing with the Historic Sports Car Club in 70s Road Sports Series, which is fantastic fun. I have Win Percy's X240Z Datsun.
Okay.
Family involvement as well. My son Julian races with us, and we have great fun around some of the best circuits in the UK.
Absolutely, and it's a great atmosphere as well, like the Hillclimb paddock is.
Absolutely. I think we've been able to generate that over the years, and the guys in those series, and I have to say throughout the HSCC and all the historic motorsport, it's just like hill climbing.
Brilliant, sounds good. Well, we're glad to see you back here, albeit somewhat briefly, and hopefully we'll see you again.
All right, thank you very much indeed.
Back to you, Jerry.
Thanks, James. We're going straight into the first of the day's British Championship runoffs. With competitors hot foot from 4 rounds in the Channel Islands just a week ago, first away at Wiscombe Park, it's Tom New. Tom's had a busy week repairing the Gould Judd after an off in streaming wet conditions in Guernsey, and sets the initial pace with a 37.36. Paul Ranson didn't have the best of Channel Islands visits, and with just the 12 fastest contenders making the runoff cut each time, he failed even to qualify for one of the rounds on Jersey. 6th on the championship table, he's losing ground rapidly to Roger Moran, and Ranson is determined to make up some of the leeway here at Wiscombe. That's a good exit from Sawbench. Now he unleashes the Gould 600 plus horsepower up Cedar Straight and thunders into the braking area for Martini. It's a good run. A 36.90 takes the lead from New by almost half a second. Here's Roger Moran. The 1997 British champion is having one of his best seasons for some while. Far from being content to play second fiddle to son Scott, he's already won twice this year at Harewood and just a week ago in the Channel Islands when he and Scott swapped wins at Pooley Bay. He's pulling clear of Paul Ranson on the championship table and mounting a strong attack on the 4th place Chris Merrick, and this run is certainly strengthening his bid. Moran rockets up into Martini and through the final bend to take the lead, almost a second clear of Ranson. Wiscombe first-timer Wallace Mingus had a great time in the Channel Islands, qualifying the new Cosworth V8 DJ Firestorm each time and coming away with 14th place overall on the championship table. The car is still minus much of its bodywork, but it's not a problem here at Wiscombe Park, a far narrower and more undulating hill than the public road courses at Pooley Bay and the Val de Terres, and one which places a premium on medium speed handling. That seems to be working well as the Scot attacks the tight hairpin at Sawbench, but it's Martini that proves to be his undoing as the car skates straight on and out of the points. Iron and Price and the nimble Force Hayabusa always go well at Wiscombe, but this time the former rally driver only just managed to scrape into the runoff just ahead of Mingus. He's back on the pace now and the nimble car makes light work of the S's. Just watch this committed rally-style attack on Sawbench, but he really has to wring the tiny car's neck up Castle Straight. It's his best run of the day so far, and Price goes 4th fastest behind Tom New. This is only Adam Steele's second outing in the new Martlet Suzuki, which his father Tony built, amazingly, in the first few months of this year. At just 1000cc, it's one of the smallest cars ever to qualify for a British runoff, and what's more, Adam succeeded at his first attempt. This tiny budget racer really sets the track alight, and by the end of the runoff, his first British Championship point will be in the bag. Chris Merrick dives through the gateway, and so far only Roger Moran has arrived there quicker in this runoff. Merrick is well aware that the challenge from his rival is steadily gaining momentum and needs a really good run to make sure of hanging on to his championship 4th place by the end of the day. Despite hasty repairs after last weekend's accident, the big 4 litre Gould Judd is working well, and Merrick looks on course for a good result as he gets on the brakes for Martini. 36.70 is good enough for 2nd place right now, but Roger Moran still leads. Since Oliver Tomlin first drove this big Pilbeam Judd at Harewood just over a couple of months ago, he's become a father. It doesn't seem to have slowed him. His 6th place qualifier at Wiscombe is his best yet, but he can't quite match that pace with points at stake, holding 6th with 4 more cars to run. A fine 4th qualifying slot for Will Hall, well clear of his rival Iron Price, has set the 1600cc 4th driver up for an attack on Paul Hames' 10th place overall on the championship table. With Hames not making the cut, he's in an even better position, but this time his bid fails to come off and Hall drops to the tail of the field. We're down to the big 3 now, and the championship battle couldn't be closer. With Trevor Willis maintaining a watching brief in 3rd place, Martin Groves and Scott Moran have come to Wiscombe Park level on points after 4 close-fought rounds in the Channel Islands. Groves has 8 wins to Moran's 10, and he's determined to close that gap as he reaches the gateway quicker than anyone so far. The track surface is still far from ideal, and without the benefit of the traction control enjoyed by the Moran team, it calls for delicate throttle control. But the 3 times British champion is more than equal to the task. Roger Moran's 35.97 is still the time to beat as Groves storms into Martini. It's smooth, but will it be quick enough? No, 36.18 is 2nd place, and there are still 2 cars to run. The first of those 2, Scott Moran. This is the champion's chance to break clear of that tie for the lead. The power comes down early after the tight Wisk corner, and the Gould's traction control really pays off up Wisk straight. That's the quickest we've seen yet over the leap, and Moran's 2/10 up on Groves to the gate. Ultra smooth through the S's switchback, he swings the big car this way and that, hurling it up the narrow track through the woods and into the braking area for Sawbench. The GR61X really works well through here, and with a good slingshot out of the hairpin, Scott blasts up the slippery castle straight towards Martini. His dad's 35.97 is still the target, and with a superb exit from the final hairpin, Scott takes the lead. Now it's all down to Trevor Willis. He's set the pace throughout practice, and the car's nimble handling and the driver's sheer determination have proved more than a match for the 2 championship leaders. There's scarcely a lift as the OMS gets up on tiptoe over bunnies, and Willis matches their time to the gate. With so little room to play with, the Steve Owen built chassis is slightly less of a handful through the tortuous Essex sweepers, and Willis takes full advantage. He knows he must get a good exit from Sawbench to keep up the momentum, and this is perfect. With the PowerTech V8 really working overtime up Castle Straight, Trevor dives into the Martini braking area. 35.76 to beat and take the 5th British win of his career, and he's done it. Let's fast forward now to the qualifying runs for the 2nd runoff, and this is Adam Steele again. In a superb performance this morning, he scored a British Championship point at his first attempt in the latest Martlet built by his father Tony. It's a real budget racer, and with its 1000cc Suzuki GSXR bike engine, it's already one of the smallest cars ever to score points in a British runoff. This is another tremendous performance by Steele as he takes the tiny car by the scruff of the neck and literally hurls it up Wiscombe Park. He's determined to make the cut for the 2nd time today, and with the weather closing in to make things awkward for the later runners, he does just that. He ties with Roger Moran for an amazing 2nd fastest qualifying spot. The top contenders still need to qualify, but now the forecast rain finally arrives. With husband Tom safely in the 2nd runoff, Kerry New does a rain dance. Umbrellas are up, the rain comes down, and championship front runners Groves, Scott Moran, Willis and Merrick all fail to qualify. One man who did make the cut is Iron Price. As we've seen before, the Welshman is absolute magic in these conditions, so let's ride with him again as he tackles a streaming wet Wiscombe Park during the day's 2nd runoff. Iron's holding absolutely nothing back as he charges across the meadow and over Bunny's Leap. Can he haul the speed down for the gate? You bet he can. He charges into the woods at an almost unbelievable speed, but the sure-footed carbon tub force chassis hangs on as it splashes through the murk. It's so gloomy up in the woods that even visibility is a problem, but not to the former rallyman as he plants the right foot up Castle Straight. This This is a tremendous performance. It's a best ever second place that will propel Price right up into 8th place overall on the championship table. And the winner of the final runoff? It's the 3rd victory of the year for the on-form Roger Moran. On a day when the top 4 contenders get just one chance to score, Scott Moran pulls out a narrow 2-point lead over Martin Groves. With a brilliant 5th ever win, FTD man Trevor Willis edges closer to the winning duo, and that win in the wet by Roger Moran overhauls Chris Merrick to take over 4th place on the series table. Next time we'll be making a return visit to 2 of the fastest hills in the championship, Shelsley Walsh and Gersten Down. Join us again in September for more British Hillclimb action.